got a feeling, a great feeling from Jimmy Lakey. Jimmy Lakey in the morning makes me feel alive. Woke me up this morning, now I'm up and on my way. Oh, 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 yeah, what a great way to start your day, the Lakey way.
Well, top of the morning to everybody. How's everybody doing? I placed it right perfect. See that right there? That's Whataburger. That's a Whataburger cup, and I also have some other Whataburger props here for me. The Whataburger ketchup, if you've never had it, they sell it in grocery stores here in the great state of Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So everywhere you'll see product placement, hoping to get a Whataburger sponsorship deal. That'd be my dream in life. At that point, Chad, we're quitting. We're just going to go eat a Whataburger. As a matter of fact, we could probably talk producer Chad and I to do every show from a Whataburger. I think that would be a fantastic idea. And I'm trying to trim down a little bit. I don't think that would help, but I'm thinking it would be a glorious thing if they still let us come eat there all the time. Just a free pass, that's all I'm asking. Back in the motherland I am. I see you are, Loa. I bet you felt a change in the atmosphere when I landed at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport yesterday. Just as I was leaving, just as I landed, I even checked my phone. And I saw that a plane had caught on fire at the Denver International Airport from which I had just departed from. So I checked out the scene of it, and so we need to have Jay Ratliff, our aviation travel expert, comment. They had taken off from Colorado Springs, and that's a real short flight, and they had a vibration of an engine happening. That was an American Airlines flight leaving Colorado Springs, headed to Dallas, so right behind me. And they decided, well, we're going to divert up to Denver. And as soon as they landed, the plane caught on fire, the engine caught on fire, and people were video standing on the wings. So to answer your question, no, I was not on that flight. It was headed to Dallas, but it was via Colorado Springs. So yeah, it's all good. It is all good. All right. It is, what is it? Friday, March the 14th day of March. And again, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for the next several days. And fortunately, the way this show works, I can do it from anywhere the heck I want to. And maybe we should do it from the lobby of a Whataburger. I don't know if they have internet. That would probably think I'm talking to a computer. If I was famous, there'd be an entourage. I stand back, Mr. Lakey. But I'm just kind of a nobody with a Rivers Promise hat on. So, yeah. If you want, I'll check it out, see if we can find a creative place to do it. At least when we were in Rwanda, I did it from a patio, a veranda, if you will, overlooking some beautiful scenery. And here you're in the hotel rooms, but that's okay. We'll see what we can do. All right, budget shutdown. It looks like we're going to avert the government shutdown because last night Chucky Schumer, the Democrat minority leader, decided that he was not going to promote the filibuster and he was going to vote to let the continuing resolution bill move forward. Now, again, put it in parameter. We have an existing budget that has been operational, and it is set to expire at the end of September, beginning of October, as the U.S. fiscal term or fiscal budgeting year begins in October. And so this continuing resolution is basically saying we're going to continue to spend, or at least have every department budgeted as they are. And Donald Trump has been stepping in and saying, well, you're going to have to keep that in your treasury. We're not going to send that out. But the bottom line amounts or the top line amounts are still going to be the same. We're just going to keep the government running under the current budget because we're still in that same budget. And I get it. There's a lot of opposition to that. A lot of Republicans, Thomas Massie, Rand Paul, both great guys, say, no, we need to stop the dysfunction. Other people are saying, okay, we'll let you continue under the old rules while we continue to work it out, but let's get back on regular order by September and have a real budget. So Republicans, it looks like Chuck Schumer is going to vote, and that frees up other Democrats to now vote to advance the bill. Doesn't mean they're going to vote for the bill. It means they're going to not block it because what they do is you have to, in the Senate, the way the rules are, most bills there have to get 60% of the votes to actually proceed to a formal vote. This is not the vote to pass. Chuck Schumer's not going to vote to pass the continuing resolution, I don't think. Maybe he will. But this is just basically, we're not going to filibuster. After it gets past this 60 vote threshold, there will, in the coming hours or coming days, be an actual vote where they will vote on it, and it will be 51, or majority will rule on that one, and it will move forward. So it looks like Chuck Schumer has moved forward, because I think Chuck Schumer got the word that this was going to be known as Schumer's shutdown. They had already worked out the branding. It was already be bantied about on talk shows that this will not be Schumer's shutdown. This will be Schumer shutdown. It will not be. And Schumer did not want his name affiliated with the shutdown. You can just remember a couple of months ago, they were threatening the Republicans were going to end up shutting the government down right before an election, and they were trying to blame it on Republicans. This is the first time in a long while, now that we have a Republican in the Congress, Republican majority in Congress in the White House, that they weren't able to blame it on Republicans. They always said Republicans are going to shut down and knock down Social Security and all the horrible things that Democrats have said would happen if the government was actually shut down. And so this time the Republicans were able to flip the script, as they have done so often as of recent days. They flipped the script, and in flipping the script, they were able to dub this as Schumer's shutdown. So his other Democrats, though, were not happy. Evidently, the Democrats are in total disarray. They had what they called a retreat. I'm guessing, to me, retreats, it's a retreat, it's a church retreat, it's a men's retreat, it's a spa retreat. Retreat seems that there would be something relaxing and enjoyable about it. Getting a bunch of angry, nasty Democrats together and trying to let them figure out their meaning and purpose in life, and trying to let them realize that they're in a total crap show, if you will. I'm sure that that's not real relaxing. And so I'm guessing it was not a great retreat that they're having, but it's at this retreat that Chuck Schumer announced that he's going to be all in favor of getting this thing out of filibuster. Now, here's some of the things that are said. He said that the bill is very bad. The potential shutdown has consequences that are much worse. I want you to know what it says. The bill is bad. It's pretty much a clean bill. It's pretty much the same bill, the same budget that was advancing forward that they got Joe Biden to sign with his auto pen right before his term ended. I mean, so this is not a new bill. This is a continuing resolution of what was already there that Chuck Schumer had already approved. The senator said, "I cannot underscore how incorrect this is," said Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, meaning that the consequence of shutting the government down is worse. Now, remember, when they could blame the Republicans on shutting down government, they always said that was the worst thing that ever could happen because Republicans hate people, they hate puppies, they hate God, they hate everything. And Chuck Schumer says shutting down the government's worse than this bad bill, which is a bill he had already voted for. So figure that one out in the schizophrenic, psychotic world of the Democrats. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she's a great face for the Democrat Party, keep her coming. I cannot underscore enough how incorrect he is. What voting for this CR does is codifies the chaos and reckless cuts that Elon Musk has been pursuing. The robbing of our federal government in order to finance tax cuts for billionaires is what is happening, and what the Senate Democrats will be empowering if they vote for the CR. Now, again, she's a brain-dead moron that probably drank too much alcohol when she was behind the bar serving up the drinks, because this is pretty much a clean CR. And if everything that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says about this bill is actually true, you wouldn't have people like Rand Paul and Thomas Massie voting against it. Those two things cannot be true. Republicans cannot say it's a clean bill and we're not going to continue the same dysfunction we have, while Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says it's not a clean bill and it's going to cut the size of government. No, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or cerebral cortex woman, whatever your name is, listen, the cutting of the government is going to happen coming up pretty much, let's say, September, October. That's what we're hoping will happen. This is pretty much a clean bill. So Chuck Schumer has betrayed a lot of the left wing of his party, and they are none too happy about it. And that's going to be an interesting bit of chaos to watch indeed. Let me play some video. I played it yesterday, and this is Bernie Sanders back in the day, when they actually thought that cleaning and watching and the administration overseeing government waste and stopping it, Bernie Sanders said this is why we had an administration. Let me play this as a reminder that Democrats were for doging before Elon Musk and Donald Trump started to doge, but because they have Trump derangement syndrome, they're no longer for doging. They can't handle the truth here. This is old Bernie. He looked old even when he was younger. Here he is talking about you have to have an administration that cuts the fraud, waste, and abuse. Congress passes the bill. The administration is called the administration because they have to administer and make sure we don't have fraud, waste, and abuse. Here is what Bernie said just a few short years ago. Go ahead.
There is no question that there is an enormous amount of waste and fraud and abuse in this government. There is no question to my mind that Congress has not been vigilant enough in rooting out that waste and fraud to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. I would simply say that while it is absolutely appropriate to condemn the Congress, it is also important to note that we have an administration in this city, in Washington, D.C., and the function of an administration is to administer. And that means that when there is waste and fraud, you have an administration who should also be on top of that situation.
So there you have it. You have an administration that if you know there's waste, fraud, and abuse, you should be trimming that out. That's why we have an administration. Sorry, I'm getting strange messages on my computer here, and I will fix that here in just a second. It happens when you travel sometimes. It just happens. Yeah, I should have probably done something different here, but that's okay. It's all right. Strange messages on the computer. So there you have Bernie Sanders saying that we have problems in the government. Okay, clear. I froze up here on my screen. Well, I'm out of state. Bernie Sanders says we should have the administration administer, and I'm not sure they're very hypocritical, very hypocritical. All right, anybody watch the new chaos yesterday? You had the wonderful actions of these Hamas terrorist supporters that all of a sudden decided that they would take over Trump Tower. Let me ask a question. How is it that you have terrorists, they show up as tourists, walk into one of the residencies of the president of the United States, and they're able to get through there? They didn't have weapons. I'm sure they went through metal detectors, but how is it that that even happens? It's almost as if, and I think this is actually a precinct of the New York City Police Department. I don't think it's under the auspices of the Secret Service, but you have these terrorist-loving kids that show up there, and in showing up there as the terrorist-loving kids, they take over and start chanting and dancing as a bunch of rabid fools there at the Trump Towers in New York City, all trying to free a guy that was here on a green card visa that now should be deported because he's putting out anti-Israel and pro-Hamas, pro-ISIS, pro-terrorism documents. And these leftists out there that are supposedly, I guess, Ivy Leaguers, probably paid and bought for by George Soros, have decided that he is the cause celeb. It is amazing the horses that the modern day Democrat Party wants to hitch their wagon to. Here you have a guy who is pretty much in favor of genocide against Jews. He's pretty much, they blocked down the campus of Columbia University for a couple of semesters now and said, are you Jewish? And if so, you can't go to class. They've committed acts of terror and hate on people. And yet he comes here on a green card, and he now is portraying to be victim. And people like the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or as Scott said in one of the chat rooms, almost occasional Cortex, AOC, they're now all in favor of this guy who is a pro-Hamas terrorist. I'm sorry, Hamas has been dubbed as a terrorist organization. And if you're going to be out on the streets, blocking down a university, locking it down, keeping kids from going to class, why is it that we should allow you to be here on a green card? I thought you were here to study and educate, not to terrorize and propagandize. By the way, here's a greater question that nobody really is asking. Why is it that Columbia University and all these universities that have all of this, they have these endowments that are billions of dollars, billions of dollars, endowments that are worth billions, and yet we hear that the government's cutting off hundreds of millions of dollars of funding to them? Why is it that the government is giving Columbia University a penny? Why is it that Columbia University, a private university with billions of dollars, higher than the GDP of some countries, needs any of our government assistance? That makes no sense to me, and I wish somebody would explore that. All right, again, Jimmy Lakey, my name, broadcasting or streamcasting, as we call it, for the Lakey Unleashed streamcast from the heart of Texas, deep in the heart of Texas. I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area dealing with some family business, and I'll be here for the next many days, but glad to have you here. And so there'll be a different, probably, hotel scene behind me every day. We'll try to find somewhere creative to stream from, but I don't know what that would be unless they let us into the Six Flags over Texas, or Jerry lets us in Jerry World just down the street here. If he lets us in there, we could streamcast for there, but I don't think Jerry's watching this morning. So Jerry, if you are, we'd love to broadcast from the stadium, and that would be kind of cool. That'd be very fun to do. All right, good to have all the top of the tower at Six Flags over Texas, the giant oil derrick. We could do it there as well. there's a lot of places that are optional. Other than that, it's going to be the lobby of a Whataburger. And I'm not above the Whataburger. I really am not. You see the product placement right over here, over my right shoulder, looking at the screen, probably your left. That's my Whataburger cup. I put it there on purpose. And I also, just to remind myself that I'm deep in the heart of Texas, I have the spicy ketchup and the regular ketchup, just in case I find something here that's not Whataburger that I want to dip with ketchup. I carry these everywhere I go. All right, good to have you here, Jimmy Lakey, Lakey Unleashed. A pleasure to be here. And don't forget, all the platforms you're on, you can comment. We're on several Facebook feeds, facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page, facebook.com/Red Wave America, facebook.com/The Media Equalizer. Those are just some of the streams we have out there. And also, we have a Rumble channel, a YouTube channel. We're up live on the Instagram with the hipsters and the skinny jeans this morning. And we're on X. Yeah, we're on X this morning. So, matter of fact, right now, the winner... it's the Lakey X page is doing really nice this morning. A little lower than normal. Come on, X, let's catch up here. And the X page is up and the Lakey page. All right, let me bring in Stacey Washington. You might have seen her before on this very broadcast. She is a podcaster and broadcaster herself. Stacey, welcome back to the program. How are you?
Thank you for having me back. Good to be here.
Good to be here with you. I appreciate you. I don't know if you heard me. I want to talk a couple of topics with you, but why is it that we're giving Columbia University millions and millions of dollars when they have billions of dollars in an endowment fund? And to tell them to shut down the anti-Semitism, we cut off their federal funding. I don't know why they're getting federal funding.
So you know what, Jimmy? This is going back to our feelings-based America. We used to be a real country where decisions were made based on facts, figures, data, charts, graphs, numbers. You know, we made decisions like adults. Now, if you say you want to reduce funding to something, people start pointing their fingers and they start screaming, "You're mean, you're rude, you're misogynistic, you're anti-Semitic." To me, "You're racist, you hate yourself." This is the way they behave. And, you know, one of the worst things about this is the waste. I've been thinking this past 3 weeks or so, because I had first the Doge shock. You know, it's a shock to your system when you see an organization led by a multi-billionaire, the richest man on the planet, and they're putting out these daily tweets, right? There's so many tweets, Jimmy, I can't keep up. And I'm a huge data consumption person like yourself, like constantly just eating it up. And I can't keep up with Doge. I can't keep up. So I'm on their website. After doing an hour-long deep dive to prepare for a deep dive on the show, I then go there routinely and I check in. I want to see what's going on. And all I see is the kind of stuff that could never exist at your organization, at mine. I've never worked for a place where you could order 100 Zoom licenses for 5 people, right? That's what's going on, all of it. They're funding things in foreign countries. We have literally hundreds of thousands of people working across the globe for the United States government doing God only knows what. And we're funding, weird farming practices and to teach people how to sustainably farm while fighting racism and misogyny in San Francisco, $800K for that. I think the bigger deal is that I missed out on all this gravy train. I could be a multimillionaire collecting money from the taxpayers. I just wasn't grifty enough. And now it's too late. So I think that the thing with Columbia is emblematic of everything we're seeing with government. If someone sticks their hand out and says, I am an American and I'm in education or one of these protected classes, they automatically get checks from the U.S. Treasury, and we're stuck paying the bill and with no accountability. And so, Columbia doesn't need our money. I'm glad to see them waking up, but it took a real president to actually snap them back to reality that they had anti-Semitism, and they actually have Iranian-funded terror groups practicing on their campus. I mean, their student body is 52% foreign. They need changes, but they're not going to do it until a real person, a real adult, a real manager steps into the space like Donald Trump has done.
If you're just listening, your cubicle walking around the job today, and you just have this on stream in your ear, that's the voice of Stacey Washington. She's a host of a Sirius XM show called Stacey on the Right, and you can look her up. We'll give the websites and all the information in just a second. Stacey on the Right. Stacey, yesterday, a couple of topics for you. We had Pete Buttigieg this week decide that he's not going to run for U.S. Senate in Michigan, which somebody said, I thought he was the mayor in Indiana. Why is he going to run in Michigan? I said, it doesn't matter where you live. Carpetbagging is legal in America today. But he's decided he's not going to run. Is this a sign of, both I guess could be true, that the Republicans look very good in winning that Senate seat in Michigan, and Pete doesn't want to go up against a buzzsaw and lose because he's already been a one-time loser in the presidential race, or he would love to run in Michigan. He thinks he could win it, but he thinks he could be the next president of the United States.
I think it's the latter. And there's also there's a big elephant in the room. It's an invisible elephant, but it's whacking a big punch. And that is the $500 million war chest that President Trump amassed by running a clean and tight campaign. He was still fundraising after the election. And that was because he wants to make sure that currently elected GOP representatives and senators understand who the boss is. They have, in his first term, they didn't really get it. And secondly, to fund challenges for races that are, in the toss-up category, which this is one of those races. I think Pete Buttigieg, he has much higher aspirations than the U.S. Senate. And when I say that, I understand senators are one of the elites in our country. There are only ever 100 of them. They wield enormous power. They have access to top secret SCI compartmentalized information. And they have an amazing ability to also, huge book advances, huge opportunities on cable news. So these individuals, it's an elite group. It's not like running for Congress. And I respect our congressional members, but it is easier to get into a seat in Congress than it is to get, to win a Senate race. You have everybody and their grandmother actually against you, even in your own party when you run for U.S. Senate, because they understand the power. So if he's stepping away from that, it's definitely in the toss-up column for the GOP. But most importantly, Pete wants to live at 1600 Pennsylvania, and he thinks with the Democrats being in such disarray, why not? He's nicer than Gavin Newsom. He's inept, but he's nicer than Gavin Newsom.
He's nicer, but even his record as a mayor was not that great. Department of Transportation.
But Democrats don't care about that stuff. Come on, Jim.
Yeah, that's
true. Care about results. Come on. They have Gavin Newsom. So I know you've watched as Gavin Newsom is now making kissy face with all of the biggest conservative names in America. On a podcast, he's trying to rehabilitate his image as if we've forgotten about the 15,000 burned structures. I mean, Jimmy, Democrats don't give a crap about any of the stuff we're into, like accountability and actually having a record. They don't care.
I heard some members of the California legislature last night commenting on one of the cable shows regarding their governor and his podcasting aspirations. And, they had Charlie Kirk on there, Steve Bannon, a couple of other people. And the members of the California legislature say Republicans need to stop going on there. He's trying to normalize himself. And they need to just tell Gavin Newsom, pound it and go interview your own people. You're an idiot. We're not going to give you credibility and make you seem like a nice guy because you're not a nice guy. What do you think?
Yeah, my nickname for Gavin Newsom is either Gavin Gruesome on a good day. And when I'm feeling like the truth is my only friend, I can't be nice, I call him the devil. I call him Satan's little brother, not the devil, Satan's little brother. And that's because, one of my pet peeves with Gavin Newsom is I've done research on homelessness in America. And Jimmy, homelessness it's one of the worst things that can happen to you besides physical illness, although homelessness actually is the precursor for a serious physical and mental illness. And what happens with a homeless person is this can be anyone. It could be you or me. It could be a rich person who's a multimillionaire this year and next year is literally penniless. They don't have family, so they end up living in their car. And then something happens to the vehicle. Usually it's stolen, and then they're out on the street. If they're homeless for 3 months, there's almost no physical or mental impact to the person. Once you get to 6 months, there are lasting effects, but they can be remediated. At 12 months, you become something called persistently homeless. And that's when the mental illness kicks in, because you're literally living without any protection at all. A warm, safe, dry place to sleep at night is a protective mechanism that shields you against not just the elements, but the thoughts of someone's going to hurt me. And you're constantly living with that. So the mental illness kicks in, and then you become almost unhousable because you don't want to be housed, because you begin to fight back against this idea that you're not safe. I'm safer out here than I would be if I was housed. So Gavin Newsom has subjected millions of people to that process through his refusal to address homelessness in the state of California. Now, the good news is California has the best weather on this planet. The bad news is that still doesn't stop the mental illness from creeping in, the drug abuse, the rape, there's abuse, there's physical abuse that goes on in our homeless population, the lawlessness that they're suffering from, and living outside. He manages one of the best states in our country. It's the breadbasket of America, largest GDP in our country, a GDP larger than most states and most other countries, I should say. Most other countries wish they had California's resources, assets, adjacency to the rest of America. I mean, it's paradise, and he's ruining it. I should say he's ruined it because he can't even fill up a bucket of water. Like a reservoir is just a huge concrete bucket of water. He can't keep the reservoirs filled. But I know some people will say that's the mayor's fault. But if I was the governor of a great state like that, and I knew there was a piece of crap mayor in a huge city, one of our flagship cities in this country, and she was running it into the ground, I would get in front of the microphone and I would embarrass her into filling those reservoirs. That's the job of a governor. And governors are just, they're mini presidents. And he really has those aspirations because he pays a lot of attention to his hair and his appearance. But I don't find him attractive. I think his hair sucks. And I don't think he should be given any more power. So I agree with you, long-winded here, but I have to get these things out. Jimmy, no one who has any kind of moral center should ever sit down with Gavin Newsom to give him validation for his attempt to rehabilitate his image. And I'm not saying that because I don't respect Steve Bannon. I think Charlie Kirk is the top. I mean, he's amazing, but I just wouldn't sit down with him. Now, the chances of Gavin Newsom asking me on his podcast, I don't think he's going to ask me. I've never said a good thing about him. He was once married to Kimberly Guilfoyle. That's the only thing I think he's ever done, but they got divorced. So yeah. I just don't think he's anyone worth our time.
I thought the Charlie Kirk one was interesting. Bannon was okay, fine. He's launched his podcast, but I do think conservatives just have to. He's using it to rehab his image. He's using it to soften himself. He's cost people their lives in California with his policies, and he's. I hate to say it, got blood on his hands with some of his policies out there that fires people have lost their homes or.
Yeah, isn't it funny how no one has mentioned how many people died in the wildfire?
Yeah,
it's like you have to go to local news to get that reporting. But when COVID was going on, they ran a chyron with the death toll, and it was literally live, ticking upwards every minute because Trump was president during that time. So, you know, he does have blood on his hands, Jimmy, but it's bad for us because we're criticizing him, rightly so. And now he's like, well, but would you come on my podcast? And we're like, okay, sure. No, I'm not coming on your podcast. I don't care if your son likes me. I'm not coming on your show because you're a horrible person. Why don't you, every one of us who want to come on the show, these big names, they should say, yes, I'll come on the minute you roll back your transgender policy. Tell the assembly you no longer agree with the bill that you signed into law that says that parents from other states can come there so that they can transition their children against the other parents' wishes. Any relative can transition your child. If your child makes it to California, it's a sanctuary state for transitioning, and hormone blockers and puberty blockers. Those are permanent changes. There's so many things I can think of that he could do, that he maybe stop the rolling blackouts, maybe to remove the restrictions on building housing so there isn't such a homeless. There's so many things he could do. I have a whole running list, and that's just for like the surface stuff. There's so much other things. If you talk to Californians, I have a good friend, Kara Davis. She's a podcaster. She lives in California. If you think I can give you a rundown, that woman, she knows what Gavin Newsom should be doing. In fact, maybe Kira should run for governor of California. She'd be way better than Gavin Newsom.
The voice of Stacey Washington. She's the host of Stacey on the Right. Stacey, I appreciate you always. How do folks find your show?
You know, I'm on SiriusXM, Patriot Channel 125. You can also watch the TV side over on Salem News Channel every day at 5 p.m. Jimmy, I appreciate you. I love your program. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Stacey Washington, host of Stacey on the Right. Good to have her here on the program. It's funny. I'm sitting here in the Dallas-Fort Worth in a hotel. I have a sign up on the door that they put the "Do Not Disturb, Don't Bother Me," and I keep hearing them housekeeping, and they're yelling at me housekeeping, and I'm like, I'm busy right now. They're probably going to barge in here in just a moment. All right. Good morning, everybody. What the hell do you hang the sign on the door for? That's what I want to know. All right, don't forget, my friends, we're on Patreon as well. This is the live stream here for the next several days in the Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area. And here's what you need to know. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. Patreon. There is an interview, I promise you, that's dropping this week on Patreon. It's with a great rabbi, and I'm going to work on that right after the show. I've been traveling, believe me. As producer Chad and I were talking, I was trying to get something on my computer, and he said, you have too many tabs open on your computer. It's slow. I said, I have too many tabs open on my life right now, and everything's kind of moving around slow. So I'm going to get that up as soon as this program's done today, and they stop knocking on my door for housekeeping. It's like, what do you put the sign on the door for if they're going to still knock on it? Appreciate it. Anyway, at least you're doing housekeeping. Don't you love? You've been to those hotels since the COVID booger cootie virus that they say you got to stay here 5 days to get housekeeping. You're like, really? This is like a real legit full service hotel, but you don't get full service. It was bad during the COVIDs, but anyway, It's better now, some places. All right, good to have all of you here. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. That's where you shall find me. And there's a free side to Patreon, and I'd encourage everybody to go be a free member. And if you want to get some of the paid information that's back there, it's at patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. It's $9.95 a month, and I think you will find it quite valuable. And well, I think you will. All right, let me welcome in from the Mises Institute, Wanjiru and Wanjiru Joya. I always mess up the name. I apologize that. Wanjiru, nice to have you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Jimmy, for inviting me.
You have to say it for me because you say it much better than I do.
Wanjiru Joya. You did quite well.
Wanjiru Noya. Well, they give it to me broken down in like 3 syllables, and you make it sound like 2, even though it's 3. And so I'm pronouncing it in all 3 syllables. But Wanjiru, it's nice to have you. Welcome back from the Mises Institute.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's dive into our topic du jour. Topic of the day is, first of all, let's give a little bit of your background. You have taught at the St. John's College in Oxford, the London School of Economics, Queen's University in Canada, and for the past 6.5 years at the University of Exeter Law School, senior lecturer in law. You were born in New Jersey, grew up in Kenya, though, and you're a scholar in residence at the Mises Institute. Let me dive in here. I'm sure you have some thoughts as you watch what's happening in Washington, D.C. There is a Republican congressperson who's been looking at what's happening in Washington and say, we've got problems. We have people that have been in Congress that were bartenders 5 years ago that are now worth almost $1 million or multi-million dollars. You've got people that have net worths of $260,000 in portfolios, all making less than $250,000 a year. Republican congressman says, hey, this is crony capitalism, insider trading. We've got to put some term limits down. Give me your thoughts.
I think that, I haven't followed the corruption in detail, but I know that many people have said that it doesn't seem to get any better depending on which political party is in power. It just seems to get worse year after year, whether it's the Democrats or whether it's the Republicans. So yeah, I think term limits is a good idea.
There's in the pitch that they sent over from you, there's an Ayn Rand essay called Racism. And she described it as the lowest, most crudely primitive form of collectivism, incapable with capitalism, can only be defeated through capitalism. Talk about this, because we have people that, even though socialism and communism and other forms of economic systems and government systems have failed all around the globe, you still have people in Washington, D.C. that say capitalism is evil and we must get rid of some of the crazy stuff that's part of capitalism, and we must go to a more socialist country, a socialist government.
Right. Yeah. So it's linked to the point you were making earlier about the corruption and the fact that the corruption seems to be endemic. And it's because a lot of what people call capitalism is nothing to do with capitalism. It's just corruption. So in fact, people use the word capitalism a lot now just to mean I want to make money any way that I can by fair means or foul. That's not capitalism. Capitalism is a very simple idea of voluntary exchange based on private property. It's got nothing to do with cronyism, bribery and all the other things that people do to make money. That's not capitalism. That's just theft. So when people say there's something wrong with capitalism, we need to fix it, that has nothing to do with capitalism. That's just politics and politicians being as dirty as politicians have been since the beginning of time. That's what needs to be fixed. It's nothing to do with capitalism. So when socialists say we can fix this by bringing in socialism, so people like Bernie Sanders and AOC and people like that, when they say we can fix this by bringing in socialism, that's not going to fix it. That's just going to make it worse, because socialism gives even more cover for theft, because it's about redistributing wealth. So under cover of redistributing wealth, of course, there's even more opportunity to steal than there is under crony capitalism.
Wanjiru Nijayo is my guest, Mises Institute. I want to play some video. I played it for my audience yesterday, but this is Bernie Sanders. We're watching what's happening in Washington, D.C., and everything that Donald Trump says, some people go crazy about, and they say that there's there's waste, fraud, and abuse, but he's getting it the wrong way. This was Bernie Sanders just a few years ago, and I want to get your take on it, because it seems as if because Donald Trump is the one doing what he's encouraging people to do, now Bernie Sanders is all uptight about it. Watch this. There we go.
There is no question that there is an enormous amount of waste and fraud and abuse in this government. There is no question to my mind that Congress has not been vigilant enough in rooting out that waste and fraud to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. I would simply say that while it is absolutely appropriate to condemn the Congress, it is also important to note that we have an administration in this city, in Washington, D.C., and the function of an administration is to administer. And that means that when there is waste and fraud, you have an administration who should also be on top of that situation. There is.
You get the idea. It's amazing that everything that he's saying is kind of what's happening in Washington, D.C., but because I guess they don't like the message they're going, are they more disturbed by the messenger or the message that Donald Trump and Doge are figuring out?
Oh, there's been so much hypocrisy. First of all these people complaining about, there's so much waste and fraud and something needs to be done about that. So many of them appeared on the list. When USAID was shut down, so many of them appeared on the list of people who are benefiting from USAID. They don't want it to be shut down because they were gaining from it. And now they seem to be more concerned about stopping the Trump administration than about waste and fraud being fixed. I was just reading yesterday that there are now up to 100 lawsuits against the Trump administration to stop him. They're complaining about waste and fraud, but the minute he tries to do something, they're in there with a lawsuit. They also have a lawsuit against Elon Musk saying, well, we want to know whom you've hired. We want to know what you're up to. So they're not interested in supporting him, in doing anything to fix the problem they acknowledge. They're interested in putting as many obstacles in their way as they possibly can. They've got court orders now saying that Trump is not permitted to freeze making all these corrupt payments. So they don't want it to be stopped at all. They're trying to stop him from stopping it.
Yeah, it is amazing. Wanjiru Njoya is my guest. She's a scholar in residence at the Mises Institute. You're also the author of a couple of books, Economic Freedom and Social Justice, Redressing Historical Injustice with David Gordon, and a critique of equality legislation in the liberal market economies. So with your expertise in the world of scholarly work that you have, give us your overview. What are we watching and what should we be watching for? Again, you've written books on economic freedom and social justice. We've heard a lot about social justice recently. Just give us your overtake, your view of what's happening in the world of politics in America with Donald Trump, the Congress, and what should we be keeping our eye out for?
Well, so I should start by saying I voted for Donald Trump because I thought this is surely going to be better than what we've had before with the crazy socialist, social justice warriors destroying historic monuments and saying America is built on slavery and saying we need reparations and we need to fix everything. So I thought, okay, the new Republican government is going to be better. So I think we're watching very carefully now to see what they're doing. And a lot of people have said, well, you have to be patient because, they just got in and there's so much to fix and they need to get, they just need time to get started. And as I was saying earlier, they're being slowed down and thwarted by all these lawsuits. But I think that in terms of social justice, in terms of economic freedom, what we, I think, are all looking for is less government intervention, less interference in what the states are doing. So I can give an example of Alabama, where the Mises Institute is, that has banned DEI. and they've banned all these poisonous critical race theories. And of course, we've got the lawsuits now saying, oh, they shouldn't ban DEI because that's going to go against racial justice. I think that if states had scope to fix these problems, that's the best possibility we have of these problems getting fixed. So in terms of what the federal government should be doing, less is more. The less they do, the better. That's what I think we're all hoping for at this point. Less government.
Folks want to follow you, read some of your work, follow the Mises Institute. Where do they go?
So misesinstitute.org/Joya, my surname. And you can see there all the articles I've written on the topics that we're discussing and many other topics besides. And you can also follow me on Twitter, which is just @Wanjiru my name, just as it appears there.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on, and I'm going to practice saying your name over and over and over again, Wanjiru Joya, and then we will have it right next time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Broadcasting, streamcasting, I am Jimmy Lakey, Lakey Unleashed from Dallas, Fort Worth area today. Good to have you here on the program. I got a question of the day for you we haven't hit on. It's March Madness. Anybody going to do the March Madness? I have never done a bracket in my life. I don't think so. I think I've looked at a bracket, and I remember when my son was little, he used to want to do a bracket, and I think I did one with him, maybe, but I don't think I've ever handed one in. Back in the radio days of corporate America, they used to do office brackets, and I never participated. As a matter of fact, I could not even tell you. This is how little I have followed the college basketball, or they call it NCAA basketball. I don't even know who's in the tournament. I don't even know. Doesn't it? I think it starts today, March Madness. I believe it does. Do you fill out a bracket? Am I the only person out there? Because we have a male-female audience. I think that's called a bisexual audience. No, we go through this all the time. We have a co-ed audience. That's what I'm supposed to say, co-ed. They told me to say co-ed, not bisexual. So we have a co-ed bisexual audience. We have a co-ed audience, and do you fill out a bracket? All in the chat rooms out there, am I the only person out there that doesn't give a rat's patootie about filling out a bracket? Love to hear from you wherever you're at. I've seen Missouri check in. I've seen Arkansas check in. I know Texas is out there watching me. I'm broadcasting in Dallas. Of course, Colorado is well represented as well. Whatever state you're in, do you fill out a bracket? And here's a secondary question. If you do, you've got to have it done by today, right? Because it starts. Who do you have going to the Final Four, and who do you have winning the whole thing? Anybody want to guess on that? Who is going to be your winner of the tournament? It starts today. Sand Hills says, I do a bracket, but the NCAA tournament starts next week. This week is see, we don't even know around here. Producer Chad and I are so out of it. So are you going to do a bracket next week? This is how out of it we are. We don't even know when the NCAA tournament starts. This is how irrelevant it is to us. Good morning from Tucson, Arizona. The Southwest Airlines excitement just missed the American Airlines May Day. Yeah, I missed it too, but I was not on American Airlines yesterday. I was on a United flight to Dallas. So, and I flew out of DIA. Now I used to fly out of Colorado Springs quite a bit, and then I would take American. But yeah, I've never had that kind of problem go on there. Okay, so the tournament's next week. How many of you are preparing your bracket even now? Because don't brackets start going out? I mean, you're starting to watch these conference tournaments go on, and people are going to start filling these out. Is anybody next week? You're going to start talking bracket talk right after this weekend. Bracket talk begins. How many of you are going to do the big brackets? Anybody out there? I think it's. I don't really care. I don't even know. I could not tell you who's playing. I don't even know. I'm a University of Texas fan, right? As a guy that graduated from the University of Texas system, I'm not even sure if Texas is in the hunt. I don't know. I don't watch it. Shan says, good morning from Punta Gorda, Florida. Hello, Shan from Punta Gorda, Florida. Punta Gorda. If I ever want to relocate to Florida, is that a place that I want to relocate? I'm just saying, sometimes I get tired of the cold of Colorado, and I say, why do I live in a place where it ever snows? I should never live in a place where it ever snows, because I don't ski. And if you're not going to ski and you're not going to celebrate a white Christmas, there is no need to live in a place where it snows. That's my new theory in life. I've lived in Colorado over 20 years now, and I'm starting to wonder, as it's no longer cool, I'm like, well, why do you live in a place where it snows if you don't enjoy snowy activities? And I don't. Just asking. Punta Gorda, Florida. Delilah, if you're watching back at the Lakey Entertainment Towers, put that on the list, and let's see if we can look at Punta Gorda, Florida. It sounds Punta Gorda. It sounds like I may be cursing in Spanish when I say that. I don't know what it means, but it sounds like I could be saying some dirty words. You got a Punta Gorda. I don't, or your Gorda's a Punta. Your Punta's Gorda. I don't know. I don't know what it means. Somebody tell me what Punta Gorda means. A big punt. Maybe it's a football term. The big punt. Punta Gorda, Florida. I'm thinking it may be. Scott says it's snowing in Laramie right now. Again, if you don't do snowy activities, I've determined in life I don't need to ever live where it snows again. Again, I'm not packing up tomorrow, but if I don't enjoy snowy activities, why do I need to enjoy? Why do I need to live where it snows? I don't know. I don't know the answer to this question. I don't do snowy activities, so why do I live where it never gets cold? I don't know. All right. Good to have all of you here on the program. If you haven't heard of, the Democrats are in total meltdown. Chuck Schumer last evening announced that he's not going to vote to filibuster the budget resolution. Therefore, probably the Republicans are going to get this through. And it's just one more form of winning for Donald J. Trump in the in the presidency. The Democrats are imploding. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is thinking of going back to bartending and doing her thing because she's just so pissed off with Chuck Schumer. She can't believe it. He says he's got a passport. Oh, here we go. Punta Gorda means fat point. So I could have been cursing. I could have been saying something dirty. Just depends on how you interpret the Punta Gorda. I'm all right. I'm fine. There's something about the air in Texas, not even on my radar, about basketball and brackets. Yeah, Rich, it wasn't evidently on our radar either. I mean, we do a whole show prep meeting, and producer Chad, we're thinking of the question of the day, and I said, hey, March Madness begins today. And he says, yeah. And I said, let's do the bracket question. He goes, yeah. You can tell that producer Chad and I don't give it's not on our radar screen either. It's kind of like, who's going to win tomorrow's presidential election? The presidential election isn't for 3.5, 4 years. Oh, I guess that's not a good question. That's how far off we were with the question. Wow. Sorry about that. It's Punta Gorda. It means fat point. Is it inappropriate? Am I going to go to HR if I ever, in just a moment of frustration, let's say, I wouldn't say this about Delilah, but if Delilah ever's walking around, I said, get your Punta Gorda out of here. Would that'd be problematic? I probably should not say that, right? Probably should not say Punta Gorda. Jeff, somebody says, I think that's Jeff, we can't giggle at the actual translation of Punta Gorda. Fat point. I said, I feel like I'm saying something that could be dirty when I say Punta Gorda. And then she says, well, it just means fat point. And I'm like, that's my fat point. Exactly. That's my Punta Gorda. My Punta Gorda is the Punta Gorda could be interpreted a lot of different ways. Arloa says, we do not enjoy snowy activities, and therefore, after 50 years in Colorado, we now live in a wonderful East Texas. Arloa, why'd you live there for 50 years? We love you, Arloa, but that's a short bus turn. I mean, maybe had jobs and stuff there. I don't know. But yeah, I've been 20-something years, and I don't know, the cold weather. But I have a benefit. See, I can escape the cold weather because I spend many weeks out of the year through my charity for the last 15 years in Africa. And I usually try to time a lot of those trips into the cold weather in Colorado, and that works out very nicely. So Jeff says, you just made it funny again. It is funny. Punta Gorda. Where do you live? On the fat point. I don't just got to stop it. I got to stop it. All right. Chuck Schumer caved. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is losing her ever-loving mind, whatever was left of it from the years of bartending. But this is just amazing. Actually, Donald Trump, I got to find it. I just got notification. He has sent a congratulatory message to Chuck Schumer. Let me see if I can find it. It's on Truth Social. He has congratulated. Let me see if I can find it. He has congratulated Chuck Schumer for getting his heart right and for voting for this bill. Let me see if I can find. I'm looking for it live here because that's what I do. I'm looking for the Trump tweet. Hang on, I'm going to find him. The Donald Trump. Here it is. Congratulations to Chuck Schumer for doing the right thing. Took guts and courage. The big tax cuts, LA fire fix, debt ceiling bill, and so much more is coming. We should all work together on that very dangerous situation. A non-pass would be a country destroyer. Approval will lead to new heights. Again, really good and smart move by Senator Chuck Schumer. This could lead to something big for the USA, a whole new direction and a whole new beginning. DJT, sincerely. There you have it. He's very happy about it, and congratulations to Chuck Schumer. Everybody, don't you feel like we should link fingers around a fire and sing Kumbaya? Donald Trump is congratulating Chuck Schumer. So for all of you critics of DJT that say he's so brash and he's so mean to everybody, he is extending the olive branch of love. A matter of fact, they could have a man hug today by afternoon at the White House. If Chuck Schumer heads on over there, they could have a Kumbaya moment. This is big, my friends. This is a whole new big start here in America. It's a Punta Gorda, a big point in American history. It is a Punta Gorda that we have going on at that Chuck Schumer has decided to not block the continuing resolution. Now, Republicans, I have a Punta Gorda for you. My big point. My Punta Gorda for the Republicans out there is now we're going to get this thing passed. And so you need to get your asses in order, and you've got to make a Punta Gorda on a real budget. How many times can I use Punta Gorda in a sentence today? This is my challenge to all of you. Punta Gorda means my big point. And don't be dirty. I mean, I know I used to be a Chippendale dancer and everything, so I don't want you to stumble in your walk with the Lord. But my point, Punta Gorda, on the program is we have a Kumbaya moment with Chuck Schumer saying that he's not going to block this thing. Donald Trump and him could be having hugs here in about 20 minutes in the White House. You never know. And the Punta Gorda for Mike Johnson and all the Republicans out there is now you have no more excuses. Get your asses in gear and start working on the budget to get us back under regular order. And each budget resolution, about 12 of them. And let's get this budget passed properly and in tip top. Let's go. Chop, chop. That's what I say. That's my Punta Gorda for the day. I want to keep the show going. I told producer Chad we'd get out of here on time. I want to keep the show going so I can find more ways to say Punta Gorda. Chuck Schumer gets the Punta Gorda. Well, you can take that a couple of different ways. I don't judge. If Chuck Schumer gets the Punta Gorda, and the big point, if you mean that some other way, I don't judge. You know, I'm a don't ask, don't tell guy if he gets the big point. Ladies and gentlemen, let me thank, I have a Punta Gorda to make, a big point to make. Sherry Cree, a great sponsor of the program, and I want to thank her. She's the realtor that you need, and she wants to be your realtor for life. She's not just a realtor for, put a sign in your yard and walk away. She really wants to strategize with you on your life goals. She believes that real estate, when played right, it can be kind of seem like game monopoly. But think of that. She believes it can create generational wealth for you and your family. Make the right moves, whether it's your first home, your second home, your third home. Already, my friends, please, my friends, call Sherry Cree and talk about the big picture strategy of what your real estate transaction is going to do. Generational wealth, she believes it can do. Now, I'll also tell you this. She gives special She loves everybody. She's a white glove realtor, but she gives special consideration for veterans, first responder, people that are in the military. She will even take a portion of her commission, and she will reduce that portion of her commission to make it more affordable for you. And then she will also take that portion, and she will assign it or give it to the charity of your choice, because she just believes in those that have sacrificed and give to their country. Seniors, caregivers, she also wants to take care of you, find the right place for you out there, and that can be tough to do. And anywhere up that Interstate 25 corridor in Colorado, from Fort Collins, Wellington, up north, down to Windsor, all the way down to Castle Rock. If you want to maybe even move into beautiful Aurora, but you want to make sure you're not close to Tren de Aragua, she can help you with that. If you're in Boulder and you're looking for something there, listen, whatever the case may be, the entire area she can help you with. And right now is the perfect time. Inventory is low. If you're ready to sell your home, inventory is low, so buyers are standing by looking for the right house to go on the market. Maybe you have the right house, get it up on the market. It could sell quickly, and even maybe for more top dollar than usual. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. She was looking forward to a conversation with you. Homeswithsherry.com, and reach out to her and find out if somebody posted up, can she help me move to Punta Gorda? She could. If you want to move to Punta Gorda, she can help you move to Punta Gorda. She'll connect you with someone there, and she'll be in the process with you if you want to move there. Now, Sherry earlier, not Sherry Cree, but Sherry Black said, it's enough already. It's not fun anymore. Evidently, all the men think the Punta Gorda stuff is really funny. The men all think it's kind of funny. Are donuts called Punta Gorda seeds? I don't even know. Homeswithsherry.com. Call her up and again, talk to her. Have a consultation, a conversation with her. Even if you're not ready to list your home or buy a home right now, but you know it's coming, have a conversation, brainstorm session. And if you know you're wanting to maybe get moving down the road, she can kind of help you know right now what you might want to do and start thinking. If she'll even help you get it done to get that home ready to sell. If you're ready to sell now, she can help you as well. Homeswithsherry.com. Homeswithsherry.com. Do we have any more Punta Gorda comments that we can make here on the program? I'm thinking we're Punta Gorda out. That's our thing. There's a story I need to put up on the Facebook. It's been out there all week long, and I haven't gotten it. Producer Chad's probably had a headline on it. The Gateway Pundit has a story out that Senator Joni Ernst has shredded and said, we got to get this out of the budget. Joe Biden had put together $3 billion, billion with a B. My Punta Gorda is $3 billion is a big number of USPS, that's U.S. Postal Service EV trucks. They were all the post office was supposed to be out there, and they've put $3 billion out there to order 50,000 USPS postal trucks that were EVs. Only 93 of them were planned of the 50,000. Were delivered. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, Representative Michael Cloud of Texas are leading the charge against this taxpayer-funded disaster, according to the Gateway Pundit. They introduced the Return to Sender Act, a bill aimed at clawing back the unspent billions that were funneled into the USPS EV initiative under Biden's so-called Inflation Reduction Act. So when the Democrats were saying, we're going to have the Inflation Reduction Act to bring down costs, did they ever tell you that they put in billions of dollars, $3 billion to build EV trucks for the United States Postal Office Service? In other words, every senator out there that bragged about the Inflation Reduction Act is going to bring prices down, they no longer tout the success or even the support of the Inflation Reduction Act because they were lying for you. And Joni Ernst, the Republicans, were saying, we got to claw this thing back. You know who I remember was a big advocate of the Inflation Reduction Act and the stupidity there? It was Senator Michael Bennet. Michael Bennet every day was posting with his marble mouth staff, Michael Bennet. And he, by the way, Michael Bennett's thinking of running for governor, is the rumor, of Colorado. You want to talk about a feckless fool running for governor. He's thinking of running for governor. Michael Bennett's the guy that wanted to run for president, ran for president. And even when I think the primary is over, he's still out campaigning in New Hampshire, not knowing where he's at. But yeah, he wants to run for governor of Colorado. But Michael Bennet talked about the Inflation Reduction Act, in doing that, he supported a $3 billion USPS EV boondoggle, and shame on him. And it's all coming to light. Those things that have been done in the dark by our government have all come to light. I was driving early this morning. I'm an hour ahead of you here in the beautiful Dallas-Fort Worth area for the next several days. And so I got up early and decided I was going to go over to the Whataburger and grab myself a little breakfast coffee and through the drive-thru, because it's an experience I don't get to do when I'm in Colorado. And I go through the drive-thru this morning, and I'm listening to a famed radio station, now has an FM signal, but it's a famed WBAP 820 in Dallas for years. One of the legendary, any kind of have an AM station that has three letters or starts with a W. You know, it's a heritage, big time station. It's owned by Cumulus. I actually have filled in there several times. Beautiful, beautiful studios down near the American Airlines Center in downtown Dallas. I filled in on that station, used to work for the Cumulus. And so they're good people. And I was listening to the WBAP this morning in Dallas, and they said Landman. Now, I have not watched Landman. Now, producer Chad thinks that Landman is like the best show probably that's ever made. Taylor Sheridan, it's one of his great things. He had Yellowstone and stuff. But everybody that I know loves Landman. And my problem with all these shows is that I get in late. People, they'll say, hey, watch Peaky Blinders. And I'm like, oh, it's like 25 seasons in. I have to do 30 years of my life to watch it. And I always get in on shows late. Even Yellowstone, I'm like, how many seasons have they had? Well, so I've never watched it. So this was a show I was going to get on the ground floor at Landman. I'm going to get it right there on the ground floor, right? I'm going to get right there on the ground floor of it. And then I realized it's on pay television. And, you know, I cut the cord many years ago, and I get so sick. I think I spend more now on television than I did when I had regular cable. I've got to pay for the Netflix. I've got to pay for the, I think we're on the Hulu now. We did have the Fubo. I can't even think. I think my son has thing to Pluto because there's something on there. I pay for all the stuff, and they said I got to pay for Paramount. And so I did the Hulu, and they said I got a free login to the Paramount, but it doesn't work. That's a lie. There's a lie of Satan. And so I'm not going to pay more money for television. I refuse. And so I'm told that if I want to watch the first season of Landman, it's Jimmy, it's worth it. It's worth it. Listen, I don't have producer Chad money, okay? I don't have all these. I'm a cheapskate, man. I am a cheapskate. I didn't even buy. I drank the coffee at the Whataburger, and I realized I didn't like it. I mean, anyway, I asked for the senior cup, and I'm not even old enough to get it. Yeah, anyway, I digress. So I may have to buy the Paramount. I hear I got to pay for Paramount. And I hate giving those big Hollywood outfits money, but I'm going to do it. But they have confirmed that Landman Season 2 has been approved. There's a question mark. It has been confirmed in the glorious state of Texas. The Punta Gorda is that it's going to happen. And so they've already put out an ad that one of the seasons, they're looking for extras. And I heard on WBAP this morning, if you're a student at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, TCU, that you could actually be an extra on the Landman. And there's a certain date you can send in your application, and they want you to bring a backpack like a student and wear TCU gear. And they're going to be filming somewhere in Fort Worth. So if any of you are watching in the great state of Texas and you know someone that is a student at the University Texas Christian University, then you will need to know that you could be an extra. Producer Chad is actually thinking of posing as a frat boy and coming down to Texas because he is a big Taylor Sheridan Landman fan, and they get together and talk about it all the time. I don't watch it because I'm cheap. I got to pay for it. I don't even know what Paramount costs. It's the point of paying for it. Like $9 a month. I don't know. Listen, if you have to choose between Landman and the Lakey Patreon, take the Lakey Patreon. They already got money. You're helping me. My Punta Gorda is I'm a cheapskate, and I guess we should put it up to the vote of the public. Is there anybody out there that thinks I'm being cheap and I just need to pony up the money and buy the Paramount subscription? I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I don't intend to do it, but I guess I could be talked into it sometime in the near future. All right, everybody, don't forget, what is today? Friday. Some of you get paid on the 15th, which means you're going to get paid today. Well, Obnoxious Scott says landmine rocks. Well, not everybody's got Obnoxious Scott money to pay for this. And we've got people in here that are paupers watching this show, and you guys are swinging this. I feel like Bernie Sanders, billionaires and oligarchs watching the Landman all the time. Oh, you're flashing it out there. Roger has a great point. I thought the same thing. Producer Chad, if you're going to show up at Texas Christian University and you're going to be act like a frat boy, be careful. They may try to get your check you, make sure you're not a Palestinian protester, Hamas protester. Obnoxious Scott, you don't have Amazon Prime. Yes, I have Amazon Prime, but it's on Paramount. I think Paramount is free with the Walmart Plus membership. Well, that's a place I try to avoid. Oh, I try to avoid it. I'm a Target guy. I'm a Target guy, but I don't even have to pay for the Walmart Plus membership. See, I don't even know these things. I don't know these things. I'm going to have to give Delilah. So now, yes, I'm an Amazon Prime guy, but that doesn't give me Paramount for free. I do have Amazon Prime, but that doesn't have Landman, does it? I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. You guys are all flaunting your money out there like oligarchs and billionaires. Prime is free. No, Prime is nothing free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. I'm reading the chat room. Prime is not free. You have to renew your Prime membership every year by spending a bunch of money. Paramount has a free, but has a free trial like the Patreon. I don't know if Paramount. See, now you want me to do the work. You guys are just flaunting billionaires and millionaires, oligarchs. I'm going to have to get a crazed birdie sign. Some of you are out there flashing it, swinging your dollar bills around like you're swinging your Punta Gordas around like everybody can afford your land, man. All right, that's enough of that. Hey, I was saying today very seriously, because we're very serious here on today's show. Prime equals Paramount free. Where the hell did you find? It does not. It does? Okay, I'm going to fact check you. We're going to get the fact checkers. Obnoxious Scott says Prime gives me Paramount Plus for free. He also called me a ding-a-ling. I think that's a word of nastiness. I think he's Is that a Punta Gorda? I don't know. Okay, we're gonna get very serious here. Today, some of you get paid today because you get paid the 15th. If you are looking for a way to shed some of that money you billionaires and oligarchs have out there, they get your Paramount Prime. If you're looking for a way to spread the love and the justice to us, Rivers Promise. So seriousness, I don't know if we can get serious now. RiversPromise.org, RiversPromise.com. Make a donation, and don't forget we have a charity gala coming up. It's a casino night, and you can come like as a couple. A great date night indeed. And it's at the Omni Interlock in Broomfield. If you're watching out of state, I'm in the great state of Dallas, Texas, the Texas area, the great state of Texas in the Dallas area. And if you're down here with me, fly in, go in and see us. It's going to be May 17th. There's room blocks. You have cheaper rooms at the Omni. It's a beautiful resort hotel. It's good Lord when the weather's good. It's going to be in the outdoor pavilion. It's May 17th. That's a Saturday night. Casino games for free, live music, great food. It's presented by our title sponsor is Budget Home Supply in Longmont. And Vernetta Angelo and her family own that. It's family owned and operated. If you're looking to do some home remodel, don't forget about Budget Home Supply in Longmont. If you're in that northern Colorado area, they are going to also going to deliver. They take care of Budget Home Supply. Don't forget about them and support them, and let them know that you appreciate them supporting charities like Rivers Promise. It's May the 17th. Donate to Rivers Promise. You can also register for casino night at riverspromise.com, riverspromise.com. Producer Jeff's putting up a message. Producer Chad's going to need a bobblehead after appearing on Landman. What, as a Hamas terrorist? Is that what somebody? What's this? As a pervy old guy acting like a frat boy? That's they're going to sell that at a different kind of bookstore. That's kind of scary. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Punta Gorda, Lakey. That's me. All right, we're going to wrap it up. And don't forget donations at riverspromise.org. I'll be back here Monday. I'll still be in the Dallas area for a few more days. But Monday, I'll be here. Everybody have a great day. Thanks to everybody who made it a great week. Thanks, Sherry Cree. Thanks, Budget Home Supply. Thanks to Lehman Lewis Financial Group, long-term friends of the program. Thanks to our friend Corey Clinton, 1 hour heating and air conditioning. All big supporters. Thanks to Whataburger for the cup that I have in product placement right there. Until we meet again Monday morning, spread the word. You're deputized as ambassadors of the House of Lakey. Lakey is unleashed. That's the Punta Gorda of the day. I think it's the guys that are still appreciating the Punta Gorda joke. Everybody else, the ladies have turned us south. That's all right. God bless you. God bless America. And riverspromise.org. And follow me. I'll be posting out throughout the weekend. Facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. Spell the whole thing out. That's where I post on a daily basis. Facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. Until we meet again, God bless you. God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here. No, I'm out of here. Don't argue with me. I'm out of here. Oh, hang on. We didn't do meme roulette. Stop the music. Stop the music. Everybody, stop the music. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Stop. We didn't do meme roulette. You know why I forgot about meme roulette? Because I don't have a globe to spin. Producer Chad, let's do it. Surround meme roulette. If the Punta Gorda's got me all confused here. All right, nobody left, right? Everybody still there? Producer Chad sending me a message right now. I think it says you're an idiot. No, it doesn't say that. Here it is, meme one. When you and the boys are ordering pizza and the break dudes and the broke dude says, get wings too. You got to blow it up and see the image there. The broke guy says, hey, man, get wings too. And everybody says, stop it. You see the deal? See the visual there? Do I need to explain that to some of you? The Punta Gorda is the broke dude's asking for extra, dressed in his little G.I. Joe suit. Roll round and round the world we go. We get the memes from where no one knows. Spin the wheel. Track and field runner accidentally trips, punches, and attacks a rival with a sword. Anybody see that high school track meet? That was unbelievable. How that girl said she was tripping and falling. She whacked the girl in the back of the head. She's been filed with misdemeanor assault charges, and I'm guessing she's not going to run track for a long time. Here we go. Round and round. That was Babylon Bee, by the way. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Oh, God. Oh, God. My sister wouldn't stop singing, so I locked up her microphone. Round and round the world we go. Well, there's a theme on the show today. Where are we getting? Get the memes from no one knows. If you work for the Department of Education and are posting on Twitter about how angry you are about losing your job, please realize that only 27% of school-age children between the 4th and 12th grade will actually be able to read your post. This is true. This is true. That Department of Education, angry, losing our job. Well, post all you want, because a lot of kids in America won't be able to read it because of the lack of progress of the Department of Education in Washington. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. I'm on the road. I don't have that. This is my buddy Liz Wheeler. This is true. And it's not a funny meme, but it's a true meme. Your grandma died alone in the hospital. Your husband was a firefighter, was fired over a mandate. Your teenage son has heart problems. You lost your business. You weren't allowed to go to church. Your 2-year-old was forced to wear a mask, but you want to forget the whole thing? Nope, I will never forget. Hey, Jared Polis, listen. Grandmas in Colorado died alone in hospitals. People's spouses were fired over a vaccine mandate. Teenagers in Colorado have heart problems now. People lost their businesses. They weren't allowed to go to church thanks to you. 2-year-olds were forced to wear masks. And Jared, you want to run for governor? Yeah, we'll expose who you are and what you and Marlon have done to destroy the state of Colorado. Just saying that. We'll be on it. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. I don't know. Here we go. Another great meme. No vax, no job in 2025, a layoff. He's oppressing me. Yeah, the 2020 crowd that was happy to kick your ass out and say you don't have a vax, you don't have a job, now getting laid off, and they're all crying oppression and abuse. Kick their asses to the curb. We'll be better off for it. I think we have one more meme here, maybe two. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. We have milked the meme machine dry, ladies and gentlemen. It is there is nothing left in that teat. We're done with that. Indeed, the milk machine, the meme machine is dry. All right, now we can start the music. I'm out of here. Lakey. I'm going to say it again. Donate, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. Register for Casino Gala. Thanks to Sherry, homeswithsherry.com. Thanks to all of you for putting up with our Punta Gorda jokes today. Until we meet again, riverspromise.com, Patreon. Don't forget, new interview dropping today, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. Until we meet again, God bless you. God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey, and peace. I'm out of here.